I'm so sorry, book. Hello, I'm Samantha Jo, and welcome to today's video where we are doing another Try DIY challenge. As a recap, the Try DIY challenge is where we take 3 random household items and 3 random art mediums and combine them to create one DIY decor object for our home. This happens every 3 months on the Patreon community DIY in Progress that is run by none other than DIY Danny, an awesome content creator here on YouTube. Now that you're all up to speed, let's take a look at the objects and materials we need in today's challenge. So for this Try DIY challenge, the 3 household items we need to include are book pages, toothpicks, and a jar. This jar could be glass or plastic. I've decided to go with glass. And the 3 art mediums that we need to use is a hot glue gun, spray paint, and ink of any kind. I have here pens, which have ink inside of them, and a stamp pad here as well. So between the 2 of these, I think we have this last one ink covered. So here are all the objects and materials that we need to use in today's challenge. And I gotta admit, when I saw the list for the first time, I was very excited because I actually had an idea. That's like so rare for me to have like an idea straight from the get-go. So let me walk you through today's plan. So I've decided I'm going to make some stationery and desk supplies for this DIY. It all starts with the toothpicks. The toothpicks I'm going to stain in a nice walnut brown stain, and I'm going to hot glue those sticks onto the vessel in which this DIY will be, which is a wooden box that I got from Hobbycraft. I thought putting toothpicks onto a wooden box would give it a really nice texture, and that's where I got really excited about this idea. On the inside of the box, we're not just gonna leave it plain, no. We are going to take our spray paint and paint the whole of the inside of the box a silver color. This silver color right here, to be exact. I'm then going to Mod Podge the book pages, which will have a bit of an ink design onto it. I'm not really sure how the ink is going to play on the book pages yet, but the book pages are going to go inside of the box. So when you open it, it has like a nice little antique feel to it. So then that's going to open up, reveal everything inside of there. But then you're asking, okay, what about the jar, Sam? You have a whole jar to use within this project. Wait for it. I use this jar already as a place for me to store my pens, pencils, and small rulers for my bullet journal stuff. So I'm going to use the jar and I'm going to cover it in clay. So I'm then kind of transforming the jar to be a cylinder shape or a prism. I think that's what it's called, a prism. So I'm completely just redesigning the shape of the jar. And just like our wooden box, I'm then gonna take some toothpicks that are stained and put them onto the jars and just make it a matching set. So yeah, those are my plans. I'm really excited, as you can see from the sketch and from just like my overall excitement explaining the project. So without further ado, let's jump in and get started. So I think the first thing that we need to do is actually spray paint the inside of this box. So I have this spray paint that I got from like a local shop on the high street. I thought it looked really cute with the silver onto it. So yeah, let's get this taped up and then go outside and spray paint it while the weather's still nice. Spray paint's gonna need a lot more coats. That will be fun. But while I'm waiting for the box to dry, I might as well get started on staining the toothpicks because we've got a lot of toothpicks to stain. And the toothpicks themselves are going to be in this dark oak varnish. I've never used this before. I don't know what the color is gonna be like, so I might as well do a small little test on one of the toothpicks just to see how it'll look and make sure that it's just gonna be what I want it to be. Ooh, that's very dark. Look at that. Oh, it smells. I need to ventilate this room. Window is now open, so apologies for any traffic noises that you hear. All right, well, let's just get a small little dip of our brush there and get this painted on. Okay. So here's the color. I think my idea is going to be, we'll do one coat of varnish and then we'll probably have to go through and do another varnish when they're actually all stuck on, because I don't think we're gonna get it the darkness that we want just by like one coat here, and that would take a really long time to do. So as long as we get like one coat to begin with, I think would be in a really good position for the color that I kind of see in my head. So in my drawing, as you can see, I actually cut off the top and bottom of the toothpick itself. I've actually already went ahead and did that. I did this the other night. I just sat through and cut off, I think 6 of these little containers, which ended up being about 600, give or take. So here they are. I think it's gonna be a lot of time to go through and actually like paint each and every individual one. So what I'm thinking is I have another just empty pan here, and I'll go through, put the varnish into the pan, roll them around a little bit, and hopefully take them out and give them a little bit of a dry off, and that can be, you know, them all done. Hopefully. I think it's gonna work. If not, I'll just have to cut some more toothpicks and start again. I do not know if this was a good idea or not. It might have been really stupid. If you were ever thinking, oh, I want to stain toothpicks, this is not the method. So I had to wait an hour to let my room fume out. It's now freezing cold in here, which is why I'm wearing my hoodie. But in that time that I was waiting, I ended up getting some more toothpicks cut down to size, because the ones that I did definitely will not work. Also, I went ahead and rolled out some clay because right now I'm going to focus on the jar aspect of this challenge. So I have my jar here. Right now it's a circle and I need it to be square. So I'm thinking I'll get some aluminum foil and just kind of make a little square base around it that I then can like just wrap these sheets of clay around. I am using Sculpey original clay for this project. My first time using it, which is interesting. It's quite hard to, you know, play around with and actually get it to work. I use an acrylic roller as much as I can just to make sure that it's flattened out and there's like lots of evenness to it. Behold, we have 2 rectangle square things. One top and one bottom. And now we just have to connect the 2. Hey, voiceover Sam here. So this clay actually took a really long time, not only to smooth out and get it to the shape that I wanted it to be, but also the baking process as well. It took about like 30 minutes for this thing to bake each and every time I wanted some piece of it to harden. So I would go through, do layer upon layer, to make sure that each side was just built up to the squareness that I wanted. But yeah, it took a really, really long time. Right. I finished the prism now and look at the shape. I'm like super happy with how this turned out. It cracked a little bit after the firing, which if you know why it cracked, let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, I'm super happy with the shape of it all. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is cover this all in gesso. Awesome. So now that we have it all covered in gesso, the next thing is we're gonna go through with our black now and just give it a nice black layer. So let's get that done. All right, so it's now painted black and completely dried. Now let's move on to adding the toothpicks, which will give it texture. So I have a new hot glue gun here. I got this for only £5 at the works. Very, very good bargain. Awesome. So my idea is to put the toothpicks on one by one until they cover the entire outside of this cylinder. And yes, it will take a while. And yes, I think it's going to be a little fiddly because the sticks aren't all the exact same height. And so some will have to be, you know, further up than the others. But I think it will make for a really cool texture and I'm really hoping that it will turn out nice. It's one of those things where you never know until you try. Plus this is going to be the hardest one that we do because the box is going to be like super square, super nice surface, whereas this is going to be a bit more harder. So, you know, might as well start with the hard one first. The last toothpick is going on. That's all on there now, and that didn't take as long as I thought it would. Now notice how I said that was the last one. So I decided that I'm only going to put the toothpicks on this bottom half like we have here. And the reason for that is I had an idea. What would it look like if I did Mod Podge on the top half. So it's like rip paper that then goes down to the toothpicks. It'd be very similar to the box because the box has the Mod Podge book pages inside of it. So, you know, it would just kind of add to the set, I think, a little bit and give a little bit of detail on the outside, make it a bit more interesting. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm switching it up. We're going crazy. We're not going crazy. We're just having a fun time with this because I really, really like how it looks right now. I think it looks cool. It feels really nice. Yeah, let me go ahead and paint them all in black now. I think that will really help to make this look even better. So it's painted and dried now, and I think we're at a good stopping point to go ahead and put silver spray paint on the top of this, because if we start adding more of the Mod Podge elements, I think it would get a little bit too risky at that point to spray paint, and we might end up messing up some of the stuff that we do. Whereas right now, it's just all black. So I'm gonna go ahead and tape this up, take it outside, give it a nice spray paint at the top, and let that set to dry. Now that's the silver I originally wanted. Oh, it looks so good. So here's our box. It's spray painted on the inside. Like we just learned, it would have been better to have this painted in a darker color before we spray painted, but it is what it is. I'm still quite happy with how the silver turned out. It really is just a very, very faint silver. So I'm gonna go ahead and just untape everything. So here's our box. It came out pretty good. Just like with the jar, I'm gonna cover this in gesso. Then I'm gonna do a coat in black before I start putting on the toothpicks. All right, now that our box is done, it's Mod Podge time. I'm so excited. I watched a video on how to Mod Podge because I've never Mod Podged before. And unlike my last DIY challenge, when I watched a video, that did not work. This one's gonna go much better because I actually tested it out this time. I know, I'm so excited. Okay, so here are the tests that I did. This first test here was to see if the ink pad and the stamps would work well being Mod Podged. It did smudge a little bit, but not nearly as much as I thought it would. The second test here was taking regular ink pens and seeing how they would react to the Mod Podge. They ended up kind of dulling down after I did the top coat of Mod Podge. This third test here, I was kind of like, okay, if this top one smudged a little bit when I did the Mod Podge top layer, I wonder what would happen if I just did the ink on top of the top layer. And as you can see, that kind of didn't go well. It still smudges and it's been like a few days since I've done this test actually, so that's a no-go. And this last test here was to see if alcohol markers, which uses alcohol ink, would smudge or do anything interesting when I Mod Podged as well. And to be honest, they performed really, really well. Dulled down the vibrancy just a little bit, but I'm pretty okay with that. So from these tests, I think the clear winners are the stamps with the letters and then the top coat and the alcohol markers. So with those tests out of the way, I'm now going to go in and actually create the pages that are going to go in the top and bottom of my box. I'm so sorry, book. Thank you for your sacrifice, book. It is much appreciated. All right, I think I've got enough pages. I'm just kind of playing around with the words here to figure out what exactly I would like the inside of my box to say and what colors I like on the pages. So it's really kind of a play around turn now. So I quite like that for the front. I think subtlety is key here when it comes to like some of the colors. Let's do the bottom now. Hello, let us create. Create. Yeah, that's how you spell create. Once I'm happy with my design, I then am able to put it into the box and Mod Podge to my heart's desire. Or at least until it feels secure and it won't go anywhere. Like I said earlier, I decided to do the outside of this cup with Mod Podge book pages as well, so this is the very last step for this project. Let's go ahead and get round to those beauty shots. And here is the final results for today's Try DIY challenge. I absolutely love how we were able to transform both of these items to make a matching set, and I can't wait to put these on my desk and use them every single day. I really love how the texture on both of them came out, not only from the toothpicks, but the Mod Podging of the book pages. Turned out so well in my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of today's projects. And remember, you can join in on these Try DIY challenges too. Just head over to DIY Danny's Patreon. The link is in the description below, and join the wonderful community that she has over there. So that's it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Do all those things on YouTube that I know you know how to do in 2022. And remember, the door is always open to imagination and creativity. I'll see you on my next video. Bye!